Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Joel Hicks, Chair of the Climate Action Commission, and I'll call this November 30th meeting of the Climate Action Commission Executive Committee to order. First order of business is I believe we have one member of the commission that is joining us remotely. I don't see him. I think I heard him at one point. Yes, welcome, Mohammed. We see you and hear you loud and clear. And I would, make a motion. I make a motion to allow our colleague, PT member Mohammed Badisi, to join us remotely. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second to that. Any further discussion? None heard. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Welcome, Mohammed, to formally being part of this discussion. First item up is I move that the Executive Committee review and approve the October 21st, 2021 minutes. As a note, these would normally have been approved. We did not have a quorum at the last November 18th meeting, so that's why we deferred that to today. But again, I move that we approve the minutes. Is there a second? Second by Tamala Trussell. Any discussion? None. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. The October 21st, 2021 minutes are approved. Second item is to approve the minutes of the November 18th, 2021 Executive Committee. Again, that was a informal meeting we had. We did not have a quorum, but we did provide minutes to that meeting, and I move to approve those minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Underwood. Any discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? You guys have it. The November 18th, 2021 minutes are approved. I see we have no persons from the public here at Borough Hall. Are there any joining us remotely?
There are not.
Thank you, Joyce. We will move on to the next action item. Just a bit of a clarification. Both of the next two action items were on the November 18th agenda to be approved. Again, as we did not have a physical quorum here, they were deferred for this special session. The reason for kind of prompting a session prior to our normal third Thursday of the month is that we are looking to provide an approved climate action plan in time for December 1st workshop, when we recommend that Council place the climate action plan for public comment for at least a 30-day period. And we needed to get a final approval of the plan before we could do that. And so again, to remind the members of the Executive Committee, the plan that we're looking to approve was version 3 of the document. I'll just make an editorial note: is sections that were highlighted in yellow will not be part of the public plan. It is a placeholder that we will subsequently complete. The community engagement team will complete, and ideally the next version of the plan that we present to Council. But again, just to clarify, the sections in yellow were placeholders and will be removed before we submit it to council, assuming we approve the plan. So I move that the Climate Action Commission Executive Committee approve version 3 of the Climate Action Plan. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Underwood, Dr. Underwood. Any comment?
I'll just say thank you to everybody for their hard work. You all carried this along, and the people of Carlisle are going to benefit from the work that you've all done. And I know at times I'm sure it felt like a bit of a slog as we got through this. Just we're all in a debt of gratitude to each and every one of you. And Mitch, you weren't here as a team lead during this period, but you were there supporting the team, and so appreciation to all of you for the work that you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schultz. I appreciate that. I would be willing to double everyone's pay on this for their efforts, but 0 times 2 is still 0. But seriously, I'm really impressed by the amount of people's free time, which we are less and less able to enjoy to put into what I consider a very important start to having a systematic approach to achieving one of our big sustainability goals here in the borough. And I look forward to continuing to work with many of you and to continue to reach out to the community to really, to put it quite simply, this is a bottoms-up plan, and that's what it needs to be going forward. Without objection, any further comment or discussion? Without objection, I would actually like to make this a roll call vote. Joyce, could you?
I can do that, sure. Mr. Hicks?
Approve.
Mr. Underwood?
Approve.
I'm sorry. Ms. Carlo? Approve. Deputy Mayor Schultz?
Aye.
Borough Manager Armstrong?
Aye.
Tamara Trussell?
Aye.
And Mohammed?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
That would be 8.
Thank you, Joyce, very much. The version 3 of the Climate Action Plan is approved and will be presented to council tomorrow by myself. I invite all those who can attend. I know some of you will be here for sure, but really would invite all the members, all the people who have been part of putting this together to join the workshop tomorrow. I'd like to recognize as many of you as possible in person. I'm also happy to say, as we present the plan, we're also going to be presenting some continuing work that we're doing, working with Dickinson students who are collecting information as part of their capstone projects that we are fortunate to be able to work with faculty and students there, and look forward to working with more students and hoping it can continue to be a mutually beneficial way that the students can contribute substantially to the community, while we also gain from their work and the faculty that guide them. So we're going to carve out about a half hour tomorrow at the workshop for 5 students working across 3 major projects, each of them taking a very specific view on those. And again, just another reason to join us tomorrow for that. The last item, a little background on that. I will propose to council, upon approval, that we, moving forward, the Climate Action Commission reorganize. As a reminder, kind of in a nutshell, this would effectively dissolve the projects and estimates team and the zoning team into 3 separate sub areas, sectors that we're going to be developing projects and recommendations. I'll remind you what they are. They decarbonization, energy efficiency and behavior, and transportation. You can view those in a sense as the demand side, supply side of the energy equation, and keeping transportation, I think, logically in its own section. We will maintain the Pathways and Analytics team and the Community Engagement team as established. We'll probably need some time to find members to build out the 3 new teams. But again, just to remind you how we had proposed to reorganize. So with that, I move that the Climate Action Commission approve for council a recommendation for reorganization of the Climate Action Commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Schultz. Any discussion? I will actually, as part of the discussion, because I think this is a perfect time to introduce what will be a key member working with the new instantiation of the Climate Action Commission. And I will let the Borough Manager, Susan Armstrong, introduce our new Director of Sustainable Communities and Economic Development.
Thank you, sir. I'm very excited to introduce Mr. Jared Woolston. Jared and his family come to Carlisle by way of New Brunswick, or Brunswick, Maine, where he was a town planner for the last 7 years. He has expertise in site plan review, subdivision review, municipal land use, and shoreland zoning. He was responsible for advising town council and served on the planning board, Bike Ped Advisory Committee, Conservation Commission, and ad hoc planning committees. He drafted the town zoning text and map amendments and updated the comprehensive plan. And he provided technical support for the Navy base reuse master plan and had oversight of large-scale new development, commercial redevelopment, and environmental studies, in addition to serving as the liaison to the Brunswick Downtown Association Main Street organization. Jared also previously worked for the Maine Department of Environmental Protection, Division of Land Resource Regulation as an environmental specialist. He holds several certifications in land use, ethics, and urban design, a Master of Policy Planning and Management with Community Planning and Sustainable Development concentration, Bachelor's of Arts in Environmental Planning and Policy. He is a certified member of the American Institute of Certified Planners and Congress for the New Urbanism. So, with that being said, we're just very excited to have Jared with us. This is actually his 2nd day, and he has hit the ground running. And I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Jared, at this point.
Not particularly. It's terribly embarrassing to hear that all on the record. Thank you very much for that. I'm happy to be here and working with you. So, hello.
Well, welcome, Jared. No one except for perhaps Susan is more excited to see you and have you here. And welcome. And I look forward to working to make our borough even better. And I see a hand from Mr. Badasi Mohammed.
Good evening, everyone. I was just going to add, because Joel, I think you asked for just some commentary on the way forward and the reorganization. Just to note that I think it's wise, and I fully endorse the reorganization. We struggled somewhat in the project team with process, and I think it's worth noting that because there was no shortage of interest in our outreach, and no shortage of reaction from the community members that we spoke to for a desire of concrete action and the planning of sort of real steps and real options for the community. And so whatever structure going forward, I think we'll find that there's a lot of willingness for folks to invest their time in the planning and later on to hopefully invest their resources in the actual initiative. So it's just to note that the disassociation of the team is not a betrayal of the mission. And more importantly, and Joel, correct me if I'm wrong, we'd always spoken of these particular topics as first movers. But with the full anticipation and as laid out in the plan that there will be a number of strategic initiatives on the project side going forward. So just to put that on the record and to note, how excited I am about this new path forward.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. I think everything you said is true. I think it's really important to remember. We set out with a very ambitious goal, and I always like to set goals perhaps just a little bit further than maybe reasonable situation will entail. And I also would think I concur with your observation and belief wholeheartedly that I think as we get process and structure formulated and reinforced, we're going to actually get even stronger and more, let's say, even more folks involved in the effort. And I do appreciate all the leadership that was willing to step up during the last year in an environment that was a little bit fuzzy in terms of responsibilities and roles, and that's what comes with doing something for the first time. And I think, as you said, I think Jared coming here at the time he's coming here is perfect. Everything is syncing up. And quite frankly, I think, if we started over, we made, the functions of the zoning team and your team, frankly, probably would have worked well together as a single unit. And effectively, I think we're going to be doing that across, the three major sectors. So I hope all of you whose teams have been at least titles have been dissolved, realize that your work is still fully in there and that you will find your called role in one or more of those teams. And I look forward to working with you both in some capacity in the three new teams we're forming. Did you have another? Your hand is still up, and I don't know if that was a new hand or I missed. Oh, okay.
Joel, just because I was worried that I cut out at the end there, and I don't know if you heard the compliment at the end, but I just wanted to make sure to note that, very early on in the I think the theorizing of the Climate Commission, when you and I had first spoken, and the outreach had been done by the borough to the community for leadership, there had always been a statement that this was not merely identifying pathways, but identifying solutions and sort of being action oriented. And I just want to sort of congratulate particularly the administration and the sort of the borough staff, because I think it is another layer of ambition to not just state a problem, but actually dedicate one itself to sort of finding concrete solutions. And I'm really proud and really glad to see that being a part of the plan going forward. So just thank you for maintaining that ambition.
You're welcome. Thank you, and please don't go anywhere. No, don't go anywhere. Look forward to having access to so many experts in the field. So we do have a second for the recommendation for reorganization from Deputy Mayor Schultz. Any other comments? If not, we'll do a standard. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The new reorganization of the Climate Action Commission will be proposed to council based on this vote. I will add that, and without objection, the next Climate Action Commission meeting, we will hold off when that will happen, as I think it's appropriate to see what the comments coming in are going to look like. We will, I don't know what the third Thursday is in December, but I'm sure it's pretty close to Christmas. So we'll just see what the flow is, and identify an appropriate time where, if we need to meet to decide how we address any comments that come from either the public or council. So hearing no objection to that, we will leave the next meeting to be determined after we adjourn. That's all the action items for this evening. But I do like to continue to give the opportunity for all the last opportunity for these 4 team leads as structured. But Mitch, any updates from community engagement?
Right now, I'm just sort of going over some of the data that we collected. Also, I need to contact the county and get the survey data that they put out so that I can sort of go summarize that and analyze that. Other than that, everything's sort of the same. We still have door hangers that we're getting ready to put out, and we haven't organized the focus groups, but we'd like to sort of figure that out at some point. So we're still working on that. So that's all.
Thanks, Mitch. One item, I think maybe I'll just open it up for some thoughts from the rest of you, but may find it primarily within your team's sort of area for organized. But I think it would be appropriate and really, I think, potentially highly productive as we look to the next year, 12 months, and maybe plan, at least plan for maybe 2, like a semi-annual, what I would call education or information session that would be specifically designed to address educating the public on some areas that may be useful in just providing productive energy information, as an example, to showcase how easy potentially is to use PA Power Switch, to kind of identify maybe some of the cautionary things you want to consider using it, as you need to keep track of your provider. But I think some looking at things like investing in higher SEER ratings, you know, HVAC. We can decide what the most appropriate topics are, but I think I might have us consider maybe planning a couple a year, and if we plan it out far ahead of time, we can get practitioners, you know, installers, educate. We can get people who can answer the questions for the topics that we decide on, and I think that goes actually in a few areas. That's specifically one of our objectives, to educate folks, and I think in most areas, you know, greening is actually economical. It's actually cost effective, and it's incumbent on us to do what we can to educate and showcase what the facts are, to let people decide what the best course of action is. So it's something I just want to plant a seed. Maybe we can discuss how we might want to do that. But do you think, does anybody have any thoughts in terms, like, do you think that's something worth potentially pursuing? Okay, yeah, and I think, oh, go ahead, Tamara.
I was just going to say, there's a lot of neat curriculum out there for like the high school and middle school doing home energy audit worksheets, and you can include the PA power switch in that. It'll reach a lot more people when we go through kids and their parents, and then the parents, you know, will often have to help with these audits, so that engages the adults at the same time. So I have some of that stuff if that's of interest.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Tamala and Joel. And I would say that, I mean, we really need to, just in my experience, there's a real, I guess, like, there's a wide disparity in knowledge about climate change, and I honestly can't blame anybody, because it changes very frequently in terms of technology, how technology progresses, and it's, I mean, even I myself will learn something new every day about what is currently sort of the best technology to implement, and so there's a ton of sort of like, yeah, there's a wide range of knowledge out there. Some of it is also was maybe correct a year or 2 or 5 years ago, and now maybe sort of might be revised a little bit. So I think yeah, one of the best things we can do is really work to educate, and I would say that goes for all of us, not just the community engagement team. But I think you know, having everyone on the team involved, you know, maybe not as much as the community engagement team, but I think it's important for the community to see all of our sort of faces and be engaged with them and understand sort of where people are coming from with when they think about climate change. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Just as I think getting our utility providers in part of the process, obviously they're a big part of educating the public, and certainly with the low income energy programs they have, we really need to be a microphone for these issues. They don't just help us reach our goals; they actually help people make good, sound decisions as well. And that's what we want.
I will warn you, I just did mine actually on November 30th, the PA power switch thing. But because I do it like every 6 months, and they have it where you can get reminders, and if pricing goes up and down and all that. So it's kind of neat. But one thing that I noted was what they had up there wasn't all the options available. So I personally went into the different providers and vetted what they had to offer, and they had better pricing doing it that way than through the PA Power Switch. So that was interesting, I thought, because that's the second time that's happened.
Okay, Tony.
Oh, I suppose I don't have much of an update since last time. So I think as far as the Pathways team, what I think will be an important next step for us will be the way we need to be interacting with the new kind of combined projects and estimate zoning team, looking at the three different kind of broad strategies of decarbonization and behavior and transportation, right? So, and what role we can play there in terms of, is it monitoring? Is it refining emissions reductions estimates that are more targeted and, like, as we've suggested before, probably outside of the ClearPath software? So I mean that's kind of where I'm at in terms of thinking about what's the new scope of our team goals, and how can we be more precise about our producibles coming out of the team.
Great. I think that aligns really well. And yeah, I really would like to see you all get a little bit more integrated into the other groups. And I think, I mean, if I was to pick one word that would best describe the greatest value would be monitoring. I mean, I think there's just a lot of ways we can be creative to do sort of micro assessments.
Mm-hmm.
That the tools in ClearPath are great and all, but I think we can be pretty clever without also overwhelming anyone, and just measurement. You know, what are some contained ways we can measure to actually prove to ourselves what we're doing is making a difference? I mean, I think that would be really, really valuable, and actually, I think it'd be kind of fun. I mean, to think of ways that. Personally, I'm not terribly interested in doing projects that we can't measure pretty closely, but that's probably the engineer in me. So I think in the project design, concurrently, we should always be thinking about how are we measuring as this goes forward. At what points are we expecting, testing our hypotheses, I guess, and seeing, is this delivering what we think when we think? So I really,
and I think the challenge there, I think, will be when it's not particular households or or the borough taking the action. It's, we've done a kind of broad educational campaign. Can we measure how many borough residents are using PA Power Switch, or are choosing different providers, or choosing the fully renewable plans versus others? Those would be the types of things that I think we can potentially track. But I think the more difficult ones will be some of the commercial goals. How are we going to make that somewhat trackable for us to get a handle on how much of that is just pre-existing trends, how much of that are we seeing real reductions in energy use from the commercial sector, those types of things. But
I love it. I was thinking through this challenge a little bit this week. I mean, we can be really clever about how we collect data. I mean, for instance, if we do decide it makes sense to provide some incentives for some of our businesses to make it, let's hypothetically, certain energy efficiency upgrades, a small contribution. Maybe it makes sense that comes with the fact you're going to share your information with us, as as part of applying for that incentive. Again, that kind of gets back to we should always be constructing monitoring and assessment when we roll things out. That really needs to go hand in hand. Good. Thanks, Tony. Carla, hello.
I think I always forget to put that on. And I think that in the process that we determined that it's really important in order to have less vehicle miles traveled and all of these things that we look to provide a safe, walkable community. And while Carlisle does really well at it now, I think there's some things that we can do from a zoning and planning component to make it better and look towards the future a little bit more than we are now. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and really appreciate the thought you put into capturing a lot of the work you've done that we really need to take, in this version of the climate action plan, we need to take that to the next step and make it part of a systematic, approach to achieving our goals. But I think with the team you've had, our ability to leverage the students as well, thinking through how we would apply these in ordinances, I think is really, really helpful. I think we're really in good shape. Having motivated experts who are contributing in that area. So thanks in large part to your leadership, Carla. I really appreciate you taking that up. Mohammed, over to you.
Good evening again, everyone. No real updates of substance. We were finally able to get in contact with a few folks who have been reaching out to for some time. For example, we talked to the team at Chambersburg that planned out their municipal solar project, and we spoke to, through PSATs, a few other boroughs that are considering, in a way, buying back infrastructure that was made private to be public, everything from energy to transportation to even some sort of like, water processing, other systems. So we've got some additional good examples out there of actions being taken, all these planned by other communities. But beyond that, no major developments.
Thanks, Mohammed. Open it up. Right. But do you have any other items to go to the order?
So good. I'm almost never a cheerleader in any group that I'm in, but I'm going to come back to what we've done. I'm a little too even keeled to be a cheerleader, but I hope that you all attend when council, and we'll pass this unanimously, that you'll all be there for that moment. Going back to my earlier my comments, that you all have an enormous hand in what we've accomplished so far. And I was going to use an analogy of building a foundation. That's what we've done, but that's too like construction and development and energy consumption. So my great grandfather planted an apple tree in my grandmother's yard when my grandparents got their first house, and that tree was there throughout my entire life. My grandmother passed away now about 10 years ago. I know that tree is still there and providing apples to the family that lives there now. And that's what you've all done here. You've planted that tree and you've nourished that seedling, and that's going to grow and that's going to provide. We need trees like that right throughout the world. but we're doing our little part here in Carlisle, and so I hope you all do attend, because it may be a quick vote, but it's the tail end of this enormous process you've all undertaken, and it's a critical process that we've all gone through and needed in this moment when it's getting later and later as the clock keeps ticking, and we haven't taken up our responsibilities soon enough. But you're all making that happen now. So I hope you take that in, and if you're able to make it, do attend, because that vote's just the next step, but it's an important step, and it's a recognition of the accomplishments that you have all put together over the last year. So please do that. And hooray, right? I mean, I know it's a long day, but it's just been kind of sullen tonight. So I just wanted to pick this up before the end, because this is a big deal, right? We're a relatively small town, 19,000, just about 20,000 people. But you're going to affect the lives of all those people. And maybe this has cascaded into the county doing its own plan, right? And we've seen that here in Carlisle before, where we've taken something up, and then we see it in Camp Hill, and we see it in other municipalities. So this isn't just here. This has the potential to grow throughout this area. So take stock in that, because you're part of that.
Thank you, Sean. Anything else for the good of the order?
Sean, just when is the thing we shouldn't miss?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
But we'll be sure that you know. Probably in January, I would think, our January meeting, unless there are substantial comments. I don't expect there will be.
After the public comment period.
Yeah. The latest probably be the February meeting, but we'll make sure everybody knows.
If there are no other comments, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.